Thank you. I am Craig Northcott. Since 2014, y'all have given me the distinct honor and privilege of serving you as your district attorney. When I stood before you in 2014, I promised you that I would bring strong Christian constitutional leadership to the office of district attorney. I believe over the last nearly 8 years now, I have been a man of my word. I have proven to you that that's exactly what I've done. When I came into the office, it was full of a lot of good people, but they did not have a clear mission statement. The office was struggling from lack of leadership. I knew there was two things that I needed to do right away. One was to set out what that mission was. Now, I can't get into all the details, obviously, of what that is in the time allotted, but first and foremost, I made it clear to them that we are to do the right thing in every single situation without fear or favor. That we are to prioritize being able to tell the difference between the hardened criminal who needs to go away from prison for the rest of his life versus someone who needs a helping hand. I went about modeling how to determine that through policies and personal example throughout our daily lives in the office. I also knew that from day one, our office was going to become a victim-centered office. We were going to prioritize victims in the way that we pursued cases. So from day one, I said we are going to reach out and make an effort to discuss every single case with victims before we extend any type of settlement offer to defendants. I then brought in a second staff person to do nothing but help with victim services and support. That position is now staffed and paid for without a dime of taxpayer money, without any grants, without any strings that come with grants. It is paid for by fines and fees that criminals pay into the system. This has greatly improved the services that we're able to provide to victims. I stand before you asking for your vote, asking you to continue to allow me to work with the people around me, to guide them and to lead them into making sure that this community that I so love continues to be protected, as well as the citizens' freedoms not violated. Therefore, I ask for your vote on May 3rd.
Ms. Walkup.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you to the media outlets for putting this together. I know why you're all here. It's because the Vols screwed up last week and lost. I understand that. Again, otherwise, you'd be home still firmly invested in March Madness. So I appreciate. I don't know that was Rick Barnes' intention, but anyway, maybe next year. I am Felicia Walkup. I grew up in small town, Warren County, Tennessee, just across the border. Grew up in a small community, Jacksboro, between Centertown and Morrison. Mr. Chad Parton calls me that Centertown girl, one of those Centertown girls. I come from a family of Lion and Joyce Walkup, and I've often told people, if you think there's anything good about me, it's because of them. I made the decision for a small town girl, farm girl, try to spread my wings a little bit when I went to school. I received a scholarship to attend a college called Berry College in Rome, Georgia. A little trivia for you, if you're ever interested. It's the world's largest college campus. Now there's only about 2,100 students, but world's largest college campus. It's a gorgeous place if you've never been there. Highly encourage you to see it. I then graduated from Berry, received my Juris Doctorate degree, my law degree, from Cumberland School of Law at Stanford University in 2001. I'd been away from home for about 7 years, and I knew I wanted to be back closer to home. And I had a dear uncle that opened some doors for me. And as it turned out, I was offered a position at the Tullahoma firm of Henry & McCord. I started there in August of 2001, worked at Henry & McCord for about 2.5 years. An opportunity became available. That's an interesting story. Chad Parton, Lee Nettles. An interesting story there. Opportunity became available for me to join the district attorney's office here in Coffee County. I went to work as a prosecutor, and I'm going to tell you folks, it's where I found my calling. I am a prosecutor, certainly not a politician, and I don't disagree with Mr. Carter, but I would tell you folks, in my nearly 17 years as a prosecutor, I feel confident that as far as jury trials, I'm probably second or third in the group of attorneys you will see here. I know I don't have Mr. Carter beaten. I know that for certain. I then spent a brief time in private practice, was able to go back into a prosecutor's role in the 17th District. As it turned out, my father became very ill, and I was afforded a blessing, really, to return to the prosecutor's role in the 31st District, my hometown, Warren County. I've been serving there for about 6 years now. Was very excited to be back in a prosecutor's role. I have the experience, the knowledge, and the know-how to be the elected district attorney for Coffee County, and I humbly seek your vote. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll go with questions and answers session of this. Ms. Walkup, you will get the first question. In a role of district attorney, you have assistant district attorneys that work under you. And do you, in the case of Craig, that would be for him, but would you, in your case, coming in as a district attorney, advise assistant district attorneys on each case they are prosecuting, or do you kind of let them go about their way and do what they're supposed to be doing, or is there certain cases that you would be more involved in than others?
The best response I can give to that as a short answer is it will be case by case. I believe that a leader, and again, if I'm the elected DA, I will be the leader in that office. I believe that a leader should have faith and confidence in her staff. I believe that the elected DA should be willing to rely upon their judgment. I also believe as the elected DA, you need to be open, have your door open and available to assist your assistants. It's crucial to be able to come along beside them when they need assistance. I have tried jury trials in juvenile court all the way up to Class A first-degree murder cases. I've never tried a capital case, thankfully. Hope I never do, quite frankly. But I firmly believe that an assistant at times needs guidance. I needed guidance when I started, certainly. An assistant district attorney should not be left on an island by himself or herself. An assistant district attorney should feel confident to go to his or her boss to say, I've got a problem, I've got an issue. Can you address it with me? An assistant should be confident to go to his or her boss and say, I got a trial coming up and I'm lost. Can you help me? Now I'm going to be the first to tell you, sometimes I need help. I have been so fortunate to work with wonderful attorneys in my time as a prosecutor. And I don't hesitate to go to them and ask for assistance when it's needed.
Greg, the same question to you, and of course you were in the office, so kind of tell us how you handle those situations.
Certainly. No, I do not get involved in every single case. There are approximately 7,500 criminal cases that my office handles a year. It would be literally impossible for me to be involved in every single one. My role is to, one, set the policies as to what is expected of my ADAs in how to decide what a fair resolution of the case is. My role is also to continue, as I can, handle a caseload, which I have done, which takes me into court regularly, so I see what's going on. It also means that I stay in contact with the judges, the clerks, and make sure that I have my pulse on the finger of any issues that might be coming that need to be resolved within my office. The other thing I do is I have fostered a very open environment in my office amongst my staff. Most of them are here tonight. Feel free to ask them. I spend most of my days checking in with my ADAs on a personal basis, but also bouncing as they come to me with issues, problems with cases, and just ask for direction. That is an important role. But also, I have the skill set that when those cases that need my attention, that I take them on and I try them myself.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we'll stay with you, Mr. Northcott. Your office, of course, is busy. We all understand that. Can you explain what tasks that you typically delegate to workers inside your office? And that's not meaning just assistant DAs, but other workers inside your office that you can give them the work that they need to be doing to help you and other prosecutors.
Essentially, I delegate to someone in my office every role that is played within the DA's office. Certainly, my staff is in court nearly every day, handling cases. Delegate that responsibility to them, again, with guidance. I have two full-time victim support staff that I delegate primary responsibility for handling services of getting them what they need in their situation that's caused by the criminal act that was perpetrated against them. I delegate administrative functions such as taking care of dockets, making sure that we're all notified of where we need to be, when we need to be there. I delegate answering phones, all those typical processes. And who I delegate that to is dependent on the function that they play in the office and their particular skill set and what they excel at. We all assist one another as needed. We have a great family, great support amongst ourselves, and I am proud to say that we are able to manage that amazing caseload in such a way that everyone is dealt with fairly.
Felicia, will give you that question as coming in. If you're able to win this campaign and elected as the district attorney, how will you handle these situations and delegating out?
Yes, sir. I will attempt to answer that question by telling you, again, as a prosecutor for almost 17 years, I've already been involved with delegating to office staff, to some incredibly competent office staff in all of my 16 plus years. I cannot sing the praises enough of the fine folks I work with now. I'm going to call names: Penny Medley, Keela Guthrie, Laura Beth Smart. They're some of our victim witness coordinators, and they are amazing. Absolutely amazing. They take on tasks by themselves. They come to me with information. They come to me asking for clarification. They come to me asking what more needs to be done. Did we miss something? It takes a load off of me. I have already been in a situation of delegating, again, in nearly 17 years. I will expand that. I will have a situation, again, I will be the elected overseeing the assistant district attorney. There will be responsibilities specifically designated to different assistant DAs, hopefully targeting their individual talents. It'll be something that I'll have to work on, certainly, to understand who fits best. But I can tell you, I've already had experience with that, and if elected, it will simply be expanded.
Thank you. All right. This next question will be for you, Ms. Walkup. Can you describe your proudest achievement as a prosecutor? Might be a little tough, I understand.
There are many. There are many. I don't think I can pick one. I will just simply tell you one that's most recent in my mind. an elder abuse case that I tried just this year, a few months ago. An elderly couple, salt of the earth. Their home was broken into by an individual. She had assaulted a man previously, left his house, went to a residence, tried to break in there, was not able to get in, thankfully. And then she crossed a field, and unfortunately, my victims had left their doors unlocked that night. They'd gone to bed. She came in. She armed herself with a curling iron, and she attacked them. They're in their 80s. I think the lady is in her 70s. She attacked them in their own bed. Amazingly enough, they fought her off. And I tell you, when I sat down with my victims, the lady in question, again, in her upper 70s, described to me how she put her arm around this woman, and I said, "Are you telling me you put her in a chokehold?" And indeed she did. Indeed she did. To sum it up, she got convicted. She's in jail. She's serving time for her crime. And it's moments like that that make me know I have chosen to be a prosecutor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Northcott, proudest moment?
You're asking me to brag on myself, Lucky.
I know that's one of the things I mentioned tonight.
There's a lot that come to mind that just from all scopes of just those conversations, sitting down with victims, being able to comfort them, explain the process in the darkest moment of their life, the praying with them, letting them have a better understanding of what to expect, to what a wonderful team I have. I haven't mentioned them yet, but my child support staff takes care of me so well and serves this community so well. If I had to pick, relationships with law enforcement, getting out there and establishing those. If I had to pick one case, when I came into office, there was a sex abuse case, stepfather and stepdaughter that my predecessor had declined to prosecute because it was just going to be tough. I took that case up. I saw a path to succeed. I tried it myself to a jury. That man is now going to spend the rest of his life in prison for the horrible acts that he committed on this young victim. That would be probably the one case that sticks out to me in that regard.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, Craig, we'll stay with you with this question. Which procedures would you like to implement? I'm sure you've done some things already, but what other things would you like to address when it comes to criminal prosecution backlogs? I know the COVID thing really bogged us down. We all understand that. But there is, before and after COVID, that we do have backlogs. I saw a case recently. This was not here, not in Coffee County. This was outside our area, where two people were on trial for murder of a child. This case came forward in 2016. They went to trial this week. And you can blame COVID for part of that, but you can't blame COVID for everything. That seems like a long time. So, with criminal prosecution backlogs, is there a way that you believe that we could help this process? And because we all talk about, the old saying about the speedy trials, and it seems like we get bogged down sometimes.
Yes, there's certainly a way that we can address this, and it is a problem. When I came into office, our General Sessions docket and our circuit dockets. We walk into court, we were in court 4 days a week, and every one of those dockets averaged somewhere between 40 and 50 pages long. There was a huge backlog, and one of the issues that I did to try to speed that along is we went from having what are called preliminary hearings to get it from Sessions Court to Circuit Court about 2 to 3 times a month to 3 times a week to try to get the process moving. When I came into office, we only had grand jury 5 times a year. There was dead space, sometimes as much as 4 months between when a preliminary hearing was held to when it went to grand jury. We now have them every month to speed those along. And we do have now a huge backlog due to COVID. There was already a growing problem in circuit. The solution to that is, in order to move the cases, the smaller cases along, you've got to try the big cases. So we have to prioritize and reset our thinking about how long those serious cases take, the murders, the rapes, those type of things. And I've been having discussions with current judges as well as all the candidates who are running for circuit judge in ways that we can do that to make sure that once we get this back and we just start plowing and working our way through it by prioritizing getting these cases set for trial and done.
Okay. Ms. Walkup, same question for you. I know you understand being a prosecutor that sometimes things get bogged down, and I know both of you and other attorneys as well, they don't want it to be bogged down. They want to move on to the next case and handle that case. So tell me about a plan or thoughts that you might have on this.
You're not alone. Again, I work in another district. It's bogged down statewide. I will tell you, first thing, everyone has to be willing. It has to come from the district attorney's office, the judges, both levels, sessions and circuit, the defense bar. There will have to be a collaborative effort to move things forward. I have wonderful friends who are members of the defense bar, and I can tell you, if their clients are out and gone, it's far off into I don't know when. Individuals who are in custody must be prioritized. It's a constitutional right. We need to acknowledge that, and we need to make it happen. All I can tell you is roll up your sleeves and get ready to go to work if I'm elected. Because I'm going to tell you folks, that's what I've been doing. Courts opened back up mid-March. In that time, I have tried 3 major felony cases. I'm ready to go to work. I put in the time, I put in the effort, and I'm not alone. I have, again, amazing help. Amazing help. But I alone have tried 3 jury trials. Again, all felonies. The lowest classification, I tried a D felony. A little bit of information. Classifications for felony offenses A to E. A being the most serious, E being the less serious. I've tried, again, the lowest level was a D. It's time to get into the courtroom, to get in front of a jury, and to move things along. There's also an avenue for settlement. We utilize that. I've utilized that, again, in nearly 17 years as a prosecutor. It must continue, and again, that is in conjunction with the defense bar as well as both levels of judges.
All right, we'll stay with you with this question. These are the ones that I told everyone about that are coming from people that either listen to the radio or read our news and online and have sent in questions that we asked for, and these are the questions they want to know. Felicia, when the Honorable L. Craig Johnson retired in May of 2021, you put your name up for consideration for the circuit court vacancy in the 14th district. You did not receive that appointment. Can you point out to us reasons that you believe that you did not get selected? Because we all sit back and second guess ourselves, so.
I've weighed that as much as I can, and quite frankly, that was a process that I had about that much control over. There were 6 candidates that applied. All I can tell you is that with my experience, I felt like I was qualified. I felt like I was ready. I had both civil, again, majority criminal experience, but I had both civil experience and criminal experience. I felt that I was ready to take on that challenge, and again, it came down to a selection from a committee, narrowing it to 3 finalists, and ultimately to a decision from Governor Lee. First time I've seen Governor Lee in person was a couple of days ago at Rotary Park. So again, folks, I wish I could give you a better answer. All I can tell you is, at that time, yes, I felt like my experience, my qualifications, my education certainly qualified me for the position. It didn't come, so God closed that door. God closed that door, and I left it behind me.
Okay. Craig, question for you. Since winning district attorney 6 years ago, I'm correct, right? Hey, sorry. I knew I would do that. I knew I would do that. 8 years ago, you have received some negative press and even faced an ethics charge that was later dismissed. Why do you think you received that bad press, especially, for the most part, I would say, from outside of Coffee County?
It's for the reason the Bible tells us. I took a firm stance on the truth of God's word. I will never apologize for that. I am not ashamed of the gospel. We're told in Romans that that's where the power of God, the power of righteousness is found. I taught at a Bible conference for pastors in Houston, Texas, and just taught the truth of God's word. Attack me all you want. I will not apologize for that. I will do my job based upon Christian values unapologetically. The reason you get attacked for that, Satan works in this world. The Bible tells us if you endeavor to live a godly life, you shall be persecuted. At the end of the day, they investigated me for 2 years. You know what they found? They found I lived my life exactly the way I said I did, and I treat everyone with respect and dignity. They found 0 cases where I mistreated anyone, and they dismissed the case because they had no legal or factual basis upon which to base their complaint.
Okay. All right. We'll stay with you with this. And again, this is not something that you have to do, but the opportunity is there for you to do this. Greg, do you have a question for Felicia that you would like her to answer?
Lucky, I appreciate the opportunity. Felicia is a wonderful lady. She has proven herself in the courtroom. I think you have covered everything that needs to be covered tonight, so no, I do not have a question for her.
Okay. All right, Felicia?
I have no questions for Mr. Northcott, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll stay with you. And this is time for them to give their closing statements.
Early voting begins April 13th. As I have been out in the community speaking with folks, a lot of people talk about, yes, I do early voting. Mark it on your calendar. Primary day is May 3rd. If you so choose, one of the ladies that I work with says, I always go on election day because it feels patriotic. What I would encourage you is talk to folks. Get them out to vote. And if you want to know something about me, go talk to law enforcement. law enforcement that worked with me, law enforcement that knows me, law enforcement that has continued to keep contact with me. I encourage you also to talk to members of the bar, those doggone defense attorneys. Talk to them. I would like to think, as a prosecutor, I reflect tough but fair. I hope that's what they would say about me. Tough but fair. I'm going to leave you with this. I had the opportunity one year to work Camp Windshape at Berry College in Rome, Georgia. What in the world? Spent my summer with teenage kids, way out of my element. The founder of the Windshape Foundation, again, encourage you to look at it. It's a gentleman by the name of Truett Cathy. Mr. Truett Cathy founded Chick-fil-A. Thank you, Tullahoma, for getting a Chick-fil-A. Mr. Truett Cathy had a saying, and I think it's attributed to him, I'm not 100% certain. But I showed up at Windshape, and there were these signs that said, I am third, I am third. What in the world? I am third. God first, others second. I am third. I would appreciate your vote.
Mr. Northcott.
I look back on my life and I see the different skill sets and gifts that God instilled in me, and then went about developing in my life, both personal and professional. I see the well-rounded experience that He required me to develop through private practice and as a prosecutor, to be able to manage people, to lead people. Being DA is a lot more than trying cases. In fact, it ends up being something you wish you could do more of. The Lord placed me in this position through y'all's votes to stand firm for the truth, whether that's in the courtroom or outside. Stand between you and an overreaching government. To stand between you and the criminal element. Everything that I love and hold dear is right here in Coffee County. I get up every day motivated to make sure that it stays safe for everyone here. I ask for your vote on May 3rd so I can continue with the directive that you gave me 8 years ago. Thank you.
All right, this will wrap up this session of the forum. The next session will be the sheriff's race, and because we're running somewhat behind, I'm going to ask the two candidates to please come on up to the stage. Mr. Sherrill will be handling this next session for the sheriff's